They banned me from parking after I found this on my scooter. My Vespa, a vintage powder blue Primavera, was my pride and joy. It was a 78 and I'd spent the last year restoring it. Commuting to Innovate Solutions, the tech company where I just landed a sweet software developer gig, was actually enjoyable now. And best of all, they had designated motorcycle scooter parking right near the front entrance. Score. For the first few weeks, life was good. I'd zip in, park neatly between the lines, and stroll into the office, feeling smugly efficient. Mark, my buddy from the IT department, even complimented the scooter. "That thing's cooler than my car," he admitted, a hint of jealousy in his voice. Then came the first parking ticket. A bright yellow slip slapped onto my pristine seat. "Obstruction of walkway," it read. I stared at it, bewildered. My scooter was parked squarely inside the designated area. There was ample room for pedestrians to pass. It made absolutely no sense. I walked inside and straight to Brenda, the office manager. Brenda was a force, mid-50s, perpetually stressed, and the self-appointed guardian of all things office-related. She ruled with an iron fist and a laminated copy of the employee handbook. "Brenda, I think there's been a mistake," I said, handing her the ticket. My scooter was parked in the designated zone. It wasn't obstructing anything. She peered at it over her glasses, a thin smile playing on her lips. "Mr. Davies, the designated zone does not give you carte blanche to park however you please. The vehicle must be positioned so as not to impede pedestrian traffic." "But it wasn't," I protested, trying to keep my voice level. "Perhaps you need to be more mindful of your parking," she said, handing the ticket back. "Consider this a warning." I gritted my teeth and walked away. A warning for parking in the right spot. I decided to let it go, probably just a one-off. The next day, a small handwritten note was tucked under my windshield wiper. "Your vehicle is unsightly and detracts from the professional appearance of our office." It was unsigned. I crumpled it up and tossed it in the trash. Annoying, but hardly worth the effort of confronting someone over. Then came the second ticket. This time, the violation was improper vehicle display. Seriously, what was I supposed to do? Hide my scooter under a tarp? And then, the notes started escalating. Perhaps a more modern mode of transportation would be more appropriate for a forward-thinking company like Innovate Solutions. Another unsigned gem. The third ticket arrived a day later. "Vehicle exceeds designated parking space dimensions." My Vespa was smaller than most motorcycles in the area. This was beyond ridiculous. I started taking pictures. Every day, before I went into the office, I documented my parking. Photos from multiple angles, showing the clearly marked lines, the ample space around my scooter, and the complete lack of any obstruction. I showed the photos to Mark. He was incensed. "That's blatant harassment. Liam, you need to do something." "I know," I said, frustrated. "But what? Complaining to Brenda is clearly pointless. She's probably the one writing the tickets and the notes." Mark, being the resident IT whiz, suggested we look at the security footage. Maybe we can catch the culprit in the act. I approached Dave, the head of our department. Dave was generally pretty hands-off, but he valued efficiency and disliked unnecessary drama. "Dave, I'm having some issues with parking enforcement," I explained. "I think I'm being unfairly targeted. I have documentation, and I'd like to review the security footage to see if I can identify who's writing these tickets." Dave sighed. "Parking issues? Seriously. Okay, Liam, let me see what I can do. I'll have security pull the footage for you for the past week, but don't spend all your time on this. We have deadlines to meet." The security footage was grainy and low resolution, but it was enough. Over the next few days, Mark and I pored over the footage, and there she was, Brenda, meticulously writing tickets and placing them on my scooter. On one occasion, she even lingered, running her hand along the paintwork with a distinctly unpleasant expression. "Gotcha," Mark exclaimed, clapping me on the back. "We have proof," but then things took a turn for the worse. One morning, I walked out to find my Vespa damaged. The side mirror was broken, and there was a long, ugly scratch along the side panel. My heart sank. This wasn't just petty harassment anymore, it was malicious. That was it. The line had been crossed. I contacted HR and spoke with Sarah, a relatively new employee who seemed genuinely empathetic. I explained the entire situation, from the initial ticket to the vandalism, and presented her with my evidence, the photos, the notes, and the security footage. Sarah was visibly shocked. "Liam, this is unacceptable. I'll launch a full investigation immediately." The next day, I was called into a meeting with Sarah and Dave. Dave looked grim. "Liam, Sarah has shared your findings with me," he said. "I'm disturbed by what I've seen. I had security pull the footage from the past month. It's clear that Brenda has been systematically targeting your vehicle. Targeting is an understatement, I said, my voice tight with anger. She vandalized it, Dave nodded. We're taking this very seriously. We're going to interview Brenda and take appropriate disciplinary action. The investigation dragged on for a week. Word spread like wildfire through the office. People started whispering, and I received a few hesitant words of support from colleagues who had also experienced Brenda's arbitrary rule enforcement. Then, I got a tip from a surprising source. While waiting for my Vespa to be repaired at a local mechanic, I got to talking to a guy named Frank, who worked for a different company in the same office park. Brenda, huh? Yeah, she's been pulling this kind of stuff for years, Frank said, shaking his head. She used to target our delivery drivers, said their trucks were unsightly and disrupting the aesthetic harmony of the parking lot. Made their lives a living hell until our boss complained directly to the property management company. Frank gave me the contact information for his former boss, who confirmed the story and provided me with copies of the complaints they had filed. More fuel for the fire. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. I received a call from Sarah, requesting a meeting. When I arrived, Brenda was already there, looking pale and flustered. Sarah laid out the evidence, the tickets, the notes, the security footage, the witness statements from other employees, and the complaints from Frank's company. Brenda initially denied everything, but as Sarah methodically presented the evidence, her composure crumbled. Eventually, she broke down and admitted to writing the tickets and the notes. She claimed she was just trying to maintain order and that my scooter was an eyesore. She denied vandalizing the scooter. As for the damage to Mr. Davies' vehicle, Sarah continued, we will need to continue our investigation to determine who is responsible, but the company will cover the cost of the repairs. Brenda was suspended, pending further disciplinary action. The office was buzzing. For the first time in years, people were openly criticizing Brenda's behavior. A few days later, I received an official apology from the company. The parking ban on my scooter was lifted, and all the tickets were rescinded. As for Brenda, she was demoted and transferred to a less visible role in the accounting department, buried deep within the bowels of the building. No more parking lot tyranny for her. I never found out for sure if Brenda damaged my scooter, but I suspected it. Either way, she got what she deserved. The day I got my Vespa back from the repair shop, gleaming and scratch-free, I parked it in its usual spot. Before I went inside, I placed a small laminated note on the seat, facing towards the office windows. It read, "Thanks for your concern." Mark later took all the photos and videos of the parking saga, set them to comical music, and played it for me in his office. We laughed until our sides hurt. The moral of the story: don't mess with a man and his vintage Vespa, especially if he has a friend in IT.